Hear you. Thank you.
Okay.
What about Sally?
Sally will join when she does, I guess.
We're okay with the three of us, yes.
Yeah.
So,
No,
well, Sue's not here, she's absent.
either place. The minutes from the previous meeting. Okay. Does anybody have
I'll-
any
I'll
agenda?
move just- yes.
Yeah, we'll move to accept.
I have all of them. I just did the first page.
Somebody's got a second.
Yeah. Okay, I don't, I do not have any specifically.
You're sideways. Sure.
Oh, yes. Oh, there you are. I was about to say, that was a pretty neat trick.
Scott, join in here so you can vote here.
It's a report for July 2021.
Note that we're at 67%. Well, when you see today's abstract, you'll go, did we have that much money? Yeah.
Wow.
We got over for it. We're okay. The 67, so we had to do
83%.
August and September yet, but
Oh, but way through 3% a year.
yeah, we're okay. Oh, we're definitely okay. Because we just haven't, we spend quite a bit on program group, which is not like we used to.
Okay, so
So,
we need to.
Accept.
Which one are we accepting? Are you anything else? Only the financial report accept? Then it should be.
The abstract.
yes, abstract of claims is here.
All right, so first the financial report. Right.
Okay,
I'll accept that.
accept that. We have a second.
So, I'll say, I'll say.
The abstract of claims dated August 11th. September 14th.
I'm just making notes on it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give you this, or do you want it to?
No, go ahead.
So, if you
Yes.
would, you used to do that.
Right,
So, on today's date, which is September 14th,
right, and just right.
you can do whatever you want. Actually, the here it is in bigger. I
You have to read it because they.
Oh. 185, comma, 072, decimal point 88. So $185,072.88, and I have an explanation for this because we were like, whoa, what happened? We have 3 payrolls and normally we have 2.
Oh, right.
We paid Mid-York 2 health insurances, and there's usually 1. We also had our annual computer, whatever, we pay them annually, like computer support or whatever. We have an architect, part of, and they did quite a bit in the last month, so that was 15,000. We did our annual insurance for the building and the property, which is 15, but that's again annual. We did our annual magazine order, which was 5,000. So this will, we're still behind in our overall, but just so you know what that's about, because normally it's not there.
Right, that's right. All right, so now, do I just put sub after my name?
You could just put trustee. Because I think it just says trustee.
Well, so.
It might say secretary.
Or you're right. or
There you go.
secretary.
Okay. I'm gonna need that.
So then,
That's like an official.
okay, so that takes care of the one, the financial, right? Now we do like abstract. Okay.
Thank you.
The abstract of claims is different.
Yes, we have to approve that.
If you want to write that number down.
Oh, wait a minute. I think
So you want me to write, whenever you want, I'll tell it you again. 185,
Mhm.
comma, 072, decimal point 88.
That is the financial report.
Need to accept the abstract of claims.
Why doesn't she get it? Why doesn't she get it now? The financial report. Because I always used to put it in.
Well, this, are you doing the agenda or the minutes?
I'm looking at the minutes.
She did.
Oh, and everything was attached.
She does say that.
Oh,
Oh, so you can do that too. Because I do attach it.
We have a second for the accepting the abstract.
Okay, so you did that. I'll say.
Oh, she did totaling. It was only 56,000 last month.
Wow, compared to this.
Yeah. That's why you didn't recognize it as a number. So she did.
Sue and Pam are doing the second
And we have the director's report.
one. And wait, I have money for that, what's that total?
That's the one,
That's the 185.
185,072. You wrote it down.
Yeah, but that's from which one? Is it
The
the
abstract.
I'm looking at the minutes.
It's B because we don't really do totals on A. We
Oh, so
just
she
do
just
that.
said see it there, okay.
And in B,
I got you.
it's just totaling.
So this goes for the second year. That goes for see it there. All right, got you.
Sure, take a minute. You're doing the minute.
I know.
We're at your
All right, submitted by Charlene. Should I do that, say that too?
You can, yeah,
I'll just copy what you did.
yes.
All right.
Well, you don't have it. I could send you the Word document that she sent me last. I could send you the minutes, the first page in the Word
I
document.
know why send it to me, I gotta send it back. And I guess I see attached anyway. I mean, when I used to do the
No, no,
minutes.
the minute, this page. I could send you Susanna's. I could send you this, what Susanna
And
sent.
then you can just.
Then you can just fill in.
Oh, I see.
Today's
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good, then.
I'll try to-
I'm okay with this too.
Are you?
Because I can just put, I can put this.
You're a typer. I'm a cut and paster.
Really quickly. and-
Sure, but not
Nothing
trouble
to it.
either.
I mean, really nothing to it. I mean, this actually is this is my way of anyway.
That's your original document, so.
This I don't get on the
If the director's
Yes.
report.
I am, okay. So it's been a long time since some of these things happened. So this was good, the webinar I went to, it made you think. I remember, I didn't remember it, but, the details of it, just realizing how you see things. And so it was, a little eye-opening, so I'm glad I went. And, exploring inclusive public service. So that was just, making sure that, which we do, making sure there's a place to sit at the computer and that idea. Sure, thinking about every angle. There's now a sustainability. I've been kind of working on this on the peripheral for a long time, and we've been doing things like that. We composted, staff composted, public just throws things away, but we've been doing little things. We've been working on our gardening and all that. So it was good. Well, hopefully, there's another one in October. So it'll keep me on task to try to make sure we're recycling well and all that. See, this was a webinar and it just had to do with, there are lockers that people can use. And they're, let's see, and this person, we don't have lockers. But some people do, like say in Atlanta, Georgia, they've got lockers at the rec center or something like that. You put stuff in. And so somebody did one on a shoestring. And so she just had lockers and they had locks that had codes. So say, how your, you have a library card and then you have a PIN. So you could reset the lock and it would be your PIN number or something. So then if we're closed, so like in Dunham house, that front foyer, in a way, we could open that and put lockers in it. It was just an idea. And you never know, we might in a construction grant figure out how somebody after hours could come in and pick things up. Because, like my daughter works 6 to 6 and she would come before work, but if she wanted to come on the way home from work, nobody's open at 6 o'clock in the morning. So, okay, so that was what that was about. All right, I met with Scott Morley. He is with Alexander Company, general contractor, because we're not ready to go to bid with this, which is what we've done in the past. And we were close, but we would have been rushing. So we needed an actual vendor who was going to do the work to quote the construction grant. So they did. And I said, don't underquote. Don't underquote. So it's a scary number. It was for them to do the work was 360,000. And before, and then we had to add the professional fees to it, and because we want to add it all, because then we can possibly get the most money. So it was 431,000 with all of that together. So hopefully we'll get 75% of that. And also hopefully when the bids come in, it'll be for less than that. So, and we can also do things in two, sometimes this might get complicated. We were talking, CRE is going on. CRE is doing well. That was, I brought this, it was from Marcy Matter. So I know Scott lives in Marcy now, so maybe he gets Marcy
Yep.
Matter. He talks
I
about
do
the
as well.
in CRE. So they're almost done, but they're not almost done because of construction delays with some materials coming in. And the hospital, again, construction delays. And so a lot of our craftsmen are on those jobs. So it might be a little soon to say that we could do this project in January. Maybe we can't. Maybe we put a bid out. We're going to do well with it. So we'll see. But the staff has been also working on some things in construction, which isn't what I'm supposed to be talking about right now. But it was. I mean, I did get a bid from them. So we worked a bit with that, and so we did submit the construction grant on August 20th. Very exciting. BYOB Virtual Book Club. We had actually just when I showed up, so I think that might be dwindling, and we might stop that. We might resurrect it in a different way, because we did well when we met in person. So it's just kind of like nobody wants to do Zoom meetings anymore. Yeah. So I might stop it. Right, it is. We're just tired of it. But Books Are Our Lives Book Club is doing very well. That's the one that Jamie and Janae run. And it's very well attended. It's a nice group. No, we meet in the back, and it's a nice group of ladies. What is you? 9, 12, maybe 15, a lot, right? And there's some good discussion that goes on. It's an interesting group, kind of see all sides. What time is it? Let's see, at 2 o'clock. Tuesday. Oh, right. It would be 2 o'clock and whatever. So let's see, stakeholders input. Oh, that was it's a Regions Advisory Council statewide plan, and I sat in on that, and it was just kind of a meeting and like what's our next steps stuff. So that's just starting, and just it's kind of how you do that. Plan of service, have a plan, and it doesn't change an awful lot. So it was kind of a plan of service thing. Speaking of plan of service, ours is up in 2022. So I did meet with Jamie and Dennis and say, we should probably have a plan that isn't just stealing from someone else, even though it's not probably going to change that much, but maybe we'll do like a T or two chat and say, what do you need? Whatever. So we're going to try over the next year, maybe to gather some information. And, feel free if that's of interest too. We'll have a couple of us. Communities for Immunities program. There's things available to get the word out for vaccines. And I don't think we're going to do any of those particular grants. But what was a fun byproduct that I reached out to MVHS's librarian, and we're going to keep each other in mind when we do. I know we need to do, I think the word is getting out for vaccines. Even in the park yesterday, they were offering vaccines at the farmer's market. But I said that a result of my daughter said, people need to know. They need to know about end of life things. They need to think about that when everybody's healthy and emotion isn't there. And, so it wouldn't be bad. Even dementia's difficult topics, end of life care, all of those, and maybe just to have, and they have people at MHS that could meet here and present their information for us. So anyway, the lines of communication are open.
Do any libraries
I know Jervis did have one, but at the time we had SUNY Poly was so close to us that they weren't, and actually Rome probably had something, they had something at Griffith's Technology Park also. But they did yesterday. They said, oh, we don't know it. And it just said COVID vaccine. And I thought, well, this is just information, they're actually doing it. So maybe they were actually doing it. So I didn't look. Because I think I could say that. So I'm excited about that and I just said that. I said, we're here, if you need us, we'll see, but at the very least, we're hoping to have some workshops that have to do with the hospital and using us as the facility, because some people don't trust hospitals, but they trust the library. No kidding. Right? Oh, don't get upset. They're so short of nurses, it's crazy.
In-person workshops, in-person.
Here,
Yeah.
we don't, but we should. And for
We haven't had any yet.
for MVHS
No, I
stuff.
haven't anything.
Oh, we have book clubs that are meeting.
That's a book club.
We have Earth Club, and they do things like they find things in the ground. So
Someone
parents
can
groups meeting. We have, and we have had children's program, but we were doing mostly outside. We did come inside because of the bugs, but because of the infection rate right now, we're not going to.
So you're not having programs like some of that stuff, the driving training.
We know because the
Well, I think
that organization won't do it.
you can get that virtual.
It is virtual.
Yeah,
It is virtual. That's the Safe Driving Clash me.
yes, because somebody asked me this.
ARP will not. They are not. So
Not even.
it's them. They aren't doing it. The blood drives have always, they've never stopped. But
The driver training, how can someone take a driver training?
they have to do it online. If they're going to do it through ARP, but ARP refuses, they're not sending their volunteers or their staff.
So they would have to contact ARP too.
I guess so, but I do believe there's Dennis would probably have information on me. I think you can just.
I'll tell you. That's about 4 or 5 people asking for it.
No. Well, we want to. Dennis keeps reaching out and they keep saying next month. Next month. Just keep saying no.
Now I don't think.
I know. And so it's just, we're being cautious yet again because it's, I think it was like 76 or something. I haven't looked it up lately. I just take a formal newsletter and my inbox twice a week. Now I don't get it. So, okay, we did have Hamilton College students come in the Tunney collection. I think that's been moved downstairs. And they also shifted books in the nonfiction section. So we kept 7 people busy for about 4 hours. And it was kind of crazy. It took us, a couple of weeks to get ready for them. But it was time well spent. And there's another grant coming through CLRC. There's 2. There's one for like 200. So I have just this morning. So the reason I met with Kathleen though, 282,000 is going into CLRC, which is Central Library Resources Council, and that is for digitization, digital inclusion. So say somebody can't access their AARP class because they don't have a laptop. Well, do we ask for grants to get, say, 5 laptops that could go out? If they don't have internet, I think that's even trickier. But we could ask for a grant for 5 laptops for such a thing, or tablets or something.
So we have nothing now like that.
We do. We have a few laptops, but they're older. So we could ask for more, not terribly old, 3 years, but still. It would be worth it for us to do that. But the 42,000 was really what Kathleen and I were talking about. And that was using, there are arts grants, like a decentralization of the arts grant. So, for example, you think of going to Munson Williams and that's your museum. You go to the Stanley and that's where you see a play, but then you don't think about that happening here. But Kathleen's at Munson Williams and she's going to be in connection with her education department. And they're hoping that they'll do whatever, they'll bring the museum to the community. So they'll bring it here and people of the community can, whatever we can manage to do, they have their collection, their permanent collection, they have it online. You can look at all of their stuff, which is neat, but it's not the same as maybe somebody telling you about it. Even if they show that online and they say, okay, this is our collection of precious paintings or whatever, and you have a person explaining what they're seeing. Notice it all. Even she took me through Munson Williams just because she wanted to show me the permanent collection and she's pointing things out. And I went,
like looking at the.
I didn't even know that's what. So she told me. So you see that now. So having somebody who's from either there, or you can even they can even hire an independent person, or it could be something as goofy as like Flat Stanley goes to Munson Williams and it's a little video. We were hoping to kind of stay away from the videos a bit, but who knows? Maybe it's the only one we're going to get done right now.
It's hard to say.
Right. So what could we do? Or maybe it's even, art stuff. Right now we do play, and that is like what you consider art-ish. But maybe they would help us do something, even our take-home stuff be better. Or this is where it is. Maybe they make them and we distribute them here.
They have all those art programs.
They do. So how can we make it a more, because it's a teaser. In all honesty, if this is something sponsored by Munson Williams and they check it out at the library, they might go, oh, it's always a bit of communication seems to help in the long run. And then there's virtual directors meetings and directors advisory council meeting, like there was an off-deck meeting about Zoom meetings. And then we had another, we're going to go with Zoom in the future. Maybe the next time we do a board meeting, it'll be on Zoom instead of WebEx, just because the price is going to be pretty amazing. We're going to do it together. So as long as we get 10 libraries, which I think 10 libraries are already in. So we'll probably go to Zoom just because we can't afford not. It's just so affordable. And there's nothing wrong with it. It was just, they were kind of tied. And they're, as Mark said, in 6 months' time, Zoom's come a long way. So he had looked into it earlier. All right, so that's that. But I have a few more things that have happened since then. I had Ron Lupier, who is a Village of Whitesboro trustee. He called me. He said, I was showing movies in the park. I went, oh no. He said, yeah, it was, oh no, I got yelled at because he just bought a big 20-foot screen and he was showing movies in the park, but he didn't have any major motion picture license to do it. We do on the wall over there. And so I filled out the form and he can do this on our property, do it on our property, but there's quite a few guidelines. You can't, whatever. You can't show it on, put it on social media. You can't put it on your website. You can't advertise it because they don't want it to compete with the movie theaters. We do inside, but nobody can see those. But we can't advertise them either. We can do it with flyers. We can send email. But once it hits the web, it's a no-no. So we can put it in the paper, but we can't say what it is. We can say we're having a movie. And it's Monster. Oh, there were a lot of guys. I said, I'm done. He's going, probably in the parking lot. Because if people parked over there, people could put chairs, and they could park over there at the park. And where did they park before, right? I mean, we have as much parking, so no, we probably won't. So he can either do it in the lawn, probably the farthest from the backyard, but he wants to do it the Saturday before Halloween. So I think the bugs will die down. So that's exciting. We're doing it. That's great. What was the movie? Monster House. Which I think Dennis is running because ours might be a little suspect. Or somebody's going to make sure ours is good. We need to do all that and then have our movie be a skip or something. So if we have a volunteer, we'll say, here, sit here and watch this movie, make sure it's good. I did go to Davies. We purchased a range back in May. But because of COVID and back order, so our fiscal year ends in September, we can't say we have a stove if we don't have a stove, right? So I went back in and we did get one that was a little bit nicer. I said, I'm over it. We're either way, like, so that's almost hooked up. It's partially hooked. There's gas there, but we want a second shut off in that closet behind. There's a furnace back there. So we want to be able to shut the gas off when nobody's using it. Because you can shut it off, but then you can also hit it and make me nervous. So they can play with it, right? Yes. So we're gonna have a shut off
I was
inside.
gonna say, we should have activities in here and I guess, so.
Right, but we won't. Well, we do, but it'll shut off. So the only time it'll be on, it's not hard. It's just a closet, but the closet locks.
Oh.
So then the locked closet behind,
Oh,
and we're gonna have a shut off in the locked closet. We'll leave that shut off on. Because we're not gonna pull the stove out each time, but we'll turn it on. Because right, Cornell Cooperative Extension's excited that we have a kitchen. They want to do some, you know, cooking things. We always have to. Oh, well, what kind of kitchen do you have? We have sink. Kim ran it today. She had, because they had an art project, and so she ran the dishwasher today.
Geez,
So-
when you were done to play your life for the first one.
Yeah. You know, well, or just and it could be a fundraiser, you know. But the construction grant estimate I told you about, so that's on my list. I have another, my director's list, I should have added it apparently. We used to bring the farmer's market inside. Well, that's awkward because, well, for one thing, it was a difficult thing sometimes to schedule around. We only have between like 1 and 4:30 awkward time. So we didn't really want to do the farmer's market inside just because of the infection and yada, yada. But we do have a farmer, and community supported agriculture is something that libraries do. There is actually, I was talking about it at the CLRC meeting this morning. I said, so who does this? We are in what you call a food desert, which is why we continued it from the park, because that means we're far away from a grocery store that has fresh food. Like you can go to Stewart's, but it's not like the same, right? It's not like Hannaford and that's hard for people who don't have a car. So with that idea, a few people told me field goods was something that people were using. What Mike wants to do is he wants to be able to set a time. So his crew, if you were one of his customers, you'd say, I want a box, and you probably pick whatever. You'd want a dairy, you'd want some kind of beef, and you'd want whatever your vegetable of the season is. So then you're gonna get a box. So if he's slaughtered a pig, you're gonna get a little bacon and some ham, and then you're gonna get some potatoes and turnips and maybe some yogurt. What he's from Middleville, but he was like one of our charter members of the farmers market, and he's been since I've been there.
What did he sell?
He sells it.
Because that's just a guy.
And with his refrigerator. It's like stuff, you know, it's really good, but I guess what I'm saying is I'm a little on the. We used to do the farmer's market, they pay $100, we consider it like a flow through, we put an ad in the paper, and we figured that's what it cost us to have them come. And we invited a lot of people. Is it okay if we have him do this? Because in a way, he's setting up a business, but we have done this in the past. I'm kind of okay with it. Because we're gonna lose it.
Which has to order this before.
Yes, so we don't see any of the money. So if you had something, say you didn't do dairy, and then Sue was vegetarian, you know, you'd have a different box. So he must set all these boxes up. Oh, he does, Mike does it all. We don't do any of it. So he wants this to be a pickup
So
spot.
it's maybe a pickup.
Oh, so this, yeah, and so
It's
we're
just to pick up some
order online.
They'd order it online, or it would be like, I don't know what they do. That's
How,
my
how,
problem.
how would you advertise this?
We don't. We're not, he's just gonna
Even
be
if
here.
he puts on the website.
Yes, but he's in the park, so he probably tells his crew. I think he has people that's pretty.
Would this be only on a certain day?
Mondays? And he'd
During,
leave everything in his car, or his truck,
during the time they're having it, or this is after it's over?
after it's over. He wants to do winter here.
Oh, all right.
And I just want you to know or approve that we're doing that because I mean, it's kind of like,
Because there's,
I wouldn't let a jewelry maker, I
there's
laugh.
money involved.
There's a little money involved. He is making money, but he's providing a service for that people need. People need food. So,
We'd have to kind of.
Then why should we make oh, no,
Yeah,
you're
but
fine.
how, but.
But are we, is this
See,
in violation of
I
our,
might come to say, I want to sell my car.
but you want to sell jewelry? That's not licensed.
They did the indoor market.
So do I have to?
Handmade craft items and living
Right,
things.
but I didn't really want that to be happening.
I know.
What I wanted was that you'd almost have to do something online or outside of the library. All it is like Sue comes up and Mike's in the library and he says, oh, Sue's here. I've got a box in the car. Let me go get it for you. That's what we're doing. We're not bringing in all this. It's just a
It's
pickup.
like when they advertise in the paper. That's for, some kind of poverty program.
Okay, similar.
What?
Food sense is one of them.
It's at a church or
Yes.
it's at a, a public building somewhere with this, that's the pickup.
That's the thing. So that's all we're offering is a pickup.
And you, so no money would be exchanged. He would have
Not
to-
in-house.
he'd have to-
Exactly. We're not doing that. And it would be nice even if, that was kind of done but it's still in the parking lot. So it's like right on the edge of okay.
I know, I didn't, I kind of, only because I think, suppose I had something I wanted to do that I thought was equally important as the.
But in fairness, I've seen people be at the library that sell insurance and they sign paperwork. Because
God
I'm
knows,
not gonna find,
and you, God knows what else people do.
oh, there's probably a lot of exchanges here. So that's all it, and in a way, we're not really involved. We're not. I mean, it's really somebody's parking in the parking lot.
It's just a pickup.
I don't want him to bring anything in but himself.
It's he takes, yeah. Take what?
Snap, which is,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I believe he did. I don't know if he still does, because it was a thing, but I think he might now, because now with Square and all of those easier ways to take money, it's probably more of a digital format. Exactly.
Which is good. Because
And I could offer it to, there are a few other food, like as in, like we used to have the wine guy, but
Well,
I
I'm
think-
gonna have to sign up.
well, I think we're not gonna get involved. I'm just thinking that if he comes and he's here between 2 and 3 on Mondays, and people come up to him and he goes to his car,
Right.
it's kind of none of our business.
I can't, I mean, can you find anything in writing anywhere that says you can't do this?
You can't solicit. So like somebody's not supposed to pass their business cards out here and do those kinds of things. That we have teachers who tutor.
Right. So, yeah, but every library has teachers.
Exactly.
And so it's-
But it's part of our mission in a way. Is it part of our mission? Health and nutrition to me
Well,
is kind of part of our mission.
So then you can probably say anything, it's like, there's a lot of things just other
Right.
people might say that might be put under that kind of thing. I mean, well, I don't.
I would like to offer it.
It's not that different than having the indoor farmers market.
No, but
Except-
see, I'm not really offering that this year.
No, but I mean, it's the same idea.
Right, but we might need to offer it to someone else, like if someone else who had a similar business
Yeah,
and they had a community supported agriculture setup, then we would say, okay, yes. And we did that with a woman who sold turkeys here. she had a pickup that one, like, the Wednesday. I don't think she did it Monday. Maybe she did. But she had a pickup sweat. She had them all in her car and they came to her car. And so, yeah. So is it okay?
That's what you're saying.
What do you think, Scott? Is it okay if community supported agriculture pickup is in the library? It is done in other libraries.
If it's being done as a pickup, with subscribers, very specific subscribers who know that on this day, their box will be outside, or in the foyer, at a certain time. Um, I I don't see where that would be problematic because, I mean, as you pointed out, we did used to bring the farmers market indoors to the library for the winter, even though there weren't as many vendors. But the vendors that could fit inside the library did come in. Now, you may be in a position where if you do have other vendors that say, well, I have customers, other vendors from the farmers market, I have customers that have arranged to come here to pick up their stuff, then you may just simply have to arrange separate days for different vendors. I don't know that that's something that would necessarily happen all the time, but if you wanted to be fair, then you can basically set it up in that way. And then in that way, it would end up being, it'd be safe and it would also be fair. So you could still observe the COVID protocols. People don't even necessarily, if the weather's bad, then they can come into the foyer and the new part and not have to come completely even into the library proper. And so they could come and do their pickup, go, and then that'll be that. And then maybe that'll continue to be on Mondays and somebody else can do something else on a different day of the week. And then if you get more than 6 vendors, it's like, oh, well, first come, first served, or you have a rotating schedule.
Hey, I like that. I don't think we're gonna have that many. We have an artist who has things in the display case, which we appreciate that the person has something in the display case. We're not going to, like, if you're interested in a product, we just ask that you call or email that person and we're out of it, kind of thing. So, okay, we're gonna allow that to happen.
And make sure that it matches the whole idea of a food. Right, I think the food.
The food is key to me.
Yeah. Food too, yeah, because it could be any. You can't buy junk food at 19 places. So you're talking about.
Like this is raw food.
Healthy.
Yeah.
food.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. And my, yeah, we did. Okay, I think that's the highlights of my director's break. It kind of gets interesting later on to like come up with.
Okay, so next we are on the construction grant update.
And the
Wait,
update,
did we do old business?
I don't know. Oh, that's the construction grant update, which I kind of told you about when I mentioned that I met with Scott Morley.
So we're going to just write now.
Yeah, you could, or just not. I don't think you have to say it.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to. Basically, I just updated you that we actually have a vendor quote, and that's really the only thing.
So I put in nothing for all this.
I think you can say that. I updated you. And the new business, we have 2 things, and maybe even 3 things, because I want to talk about Mid-York's annual dinner. So, so the salary schedule is here. We put a little disclaimer on the bottom. For the past couple of years, we've had some people comment on that longevity isn't Is it noted? And Shar and I, wow, for a couple of years now, we've been working on it. She left me. Where'd she go? We've tried to figure this out, and we did a little bit with PTO. We figured out some things, and basically this represents estimated minimum wage increase. And then we also we added 10 cents per hour. The per 7 doesn't make sense. So it should say plus 10 cents per hour per year of service for part-time staff. So that 7 is just error. And then we couldn't do that much with full-time staff. It just was catastrophic. So then we added 5 cents per year of service for full-time staff. Now then going forward, it would just be, we don't do that each time. So next year, it would just be 10 cents, right? It wouldn't be for how many there are. Now, that's why there's all those different categories, because it looks like there was an increase, then there's an increase. So we didn't want you to think we're trying to, there's a sleight of hand here that we're going to explain what that's about. Now, we're also, you'll notice the difference is $3,184. But there's a person in here that's hired pretty much on a grant. We have a library assistant. We just hired a part-time person. And we have, as in my old, I believe it was 5,000 last month on my director's report. The Marianne Buckshone grant was $5,830. And when I spoke with her office, they called to ask what we were doing. We're going to do story walks, which is not a terribly expensive proposal. It's just laminating pages of books and then you keep walking and you see the story. What the big part of it was hiring that library assistant so that programming, which again, it's takeout program right now, but it allowed for our children's librarians to have time Wednesday night to program. So I'm hoping that in like 4 weeks' time, I can explain what preschool story time looks like in a minute. And we are also having this person work on Saturdays at the reference desk. So the person that basically it's Kim and Christina do children's programming, they will be freed up to do children's programming. So we will, when that grant comes in, we will put what we need to the salary line to make the difference. That'll make up the difference. So no, and it won't anyway, because not everybody works those hours. Right. You know what I mean? We put in the max hours that those people work and then they take time off or whatever the deal is. So we could even put in more than that, but we will we'd easily have this much. We'd easily have the like 3,200.
That library assistant you're talking about, this person from the, you say whatever.
She is hired with a grant. It's
The grant person.
it's Maureen. Maureen's our newest person.
Is it on this?
She's on there, yeah. I should have highlighted her. She's
So she's permanent.
she's not, I mean, she works very part-time. She is a teacher. It's she's like most of the way down, part-time employee.
Oh, part-time.
Yeah. So she only works about, she works Wednesday nights, like 4 hours.
What does she teach?
She teaches special ed. She was at BOCES for the summer, doing summer school, so I don't know which district she works for right this moment. Oh, Charles, I'm sorry, I had to go. Oh, okay.
What about Sally?
She said she was gonna join
Virtually.
but we have the 3 of us, we're good. So that's why we thought, well, how can we do more children's programming? Yeah, we couldn't. So that's within the amount that we originally was. We didn't increase the number. This was the raw number that we had to begin with. And this is how it all worked out. But this is very, very generous.
So now, what want people to look for? You got paid.
Whoa, I guess so, right?
So Is this, this is the.
So you just approve the salary schedule.
Well, it's not on your agenda.
Yeah. And with
Right?
this, so basically, if I'm to understand all of this, the reason that it appears as though there are different percentages and that some people are getting more than others is that this is basically kind of an equity adjustment trying to level out the differences at which people came in before the minimum wage increases were mandated by the state.
The people that were making minimum wage had a very nice increase in salary each year. But we also have people who have been working 4 or 5 years longer than other people. And that's, I mean, it's still only 10 cents, but or it's 20 cents or it's 30 cents. And it's just fair.
Right.
We
right.
felt it was
I mean, I figured when I saw that this was basically an equity adjustment so that going forward, there'll be a level playing field and everybody's on a comparable page.
next year, there won't be such adjustments needed, right? We'll just have our 5 cents and we'll have our 10 cents and it'll all be just good, right? So if you work,
Okay.
you've been here 7 years, that would just be, and then it'll all be fixed. It'll be, so we'll
Right.
just do.
Okay. Well, I think that's just the important thing to have reflected in the minutes so that any of those people who didn't beat down the doors to be here in person to nitpick about that will be able to look at that and say, oh, that's, they look like crooks, but they're not. We'll leave them alone.
Right now, I believe your sentence was an equity adjustment. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was well said. Yeah.
But if we accept the schedule, then we're accepting it.
Correct.
So it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah,
But it's an explanation.
right,
So you want an explanation.
The explanation is it's an equity adjustment.
right. The salary schedule was approved
With an equity.
with, with equity adjustments included.
Yes, so that in the future, there will be clear and even and fair scales for the different there's just going to be one scale for the full-time folks and one scale for the part-time folks.
The summary line was good. But we do have this, it's recorded and it goes on our YouTube channel.
So
Right.
are we accepting it? Chris, are we accepting it?
That's fair, you don't have to do that.
Except
So our
the
accepting.
salary schedule.
So I'm going to look at the years, but.
Well, then I will be happy to make that motion that we approve the equity adjusted salary schedule as presented.
Salary schedule,
Equity.
adjusted salary
I
schedule.
will second that.
Equity salary.
Equity adjusted.
Oh, adjustment. Okay.
I know it's adjust.
Adjustment. Salary schedule. Okay, that was that. So,
Okay,
right,
how's that?
right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
There's a check signing, which I don't know if you've received this, Scott. But it was in your folder here at the library. I said,
Okay.
So there's not much. It's the check signing policy. And under financial software, it says checks are prepared and printed by the principal clerk. Because Kim was doing it before as the account clerk, and she's no longer the account clerk. She's a library assistant. So we're changing that. So we can say as attached for Pat's sake. Then, do you have one of these?
What's that under? New business?
Yes,
If you don't get it.
I know, I'm bad.
Okay, check signing. All right, so this would be
Under new business, check signing
check signing.
policy. Updated. Sure what we have to say.
And I'll say see attached.
Perfect.
Right.
And then it says, it goes down, and she would like it to say all utility providers, if that's okay for the over $1,000. Meaning, this would be Bank of Utica fund transfers, Guardian, which is dental insurance. So if we should have a bill of over $1,000, well, let me read the top. Because these are monthly and regularly occurring expenses, checks over $1,000 for the following vendors require a single signature. So she would like it to read that if we do, how often, apparently we do some transfers to the Bank of Utica often. I know, we can do it next month if it's confusing.
What was that? Sorry, only something.
Here, let me know. I feel bad. I have
No, I
two.
did it.
You do, okay, good.
I'm just saying,
So-
make it look like-
You must do something.
Why
I
did you
don't-
say that we were doing it?
It says
It says fund transfer.
I don't know unless we do something that we don't use that term for.
Yeah.
I thought we did something with when we transfer, like if we have something with it, we have to go on to another term with it.
Well, we mean CDs, but when that's just an automatic renewal, that's not a
Right.
fund transfer.
So anyway, I do have a question, but I wish she was on. I don't know what that's about, but I do know that Guardian is dental insurance, and like insurance is insurance, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like and then Ingram is where we buy books from, and that's almost always over. So there's one, I mean, we do have people who do things, Mid-York, that's a provider. National Grid is apparently.
I would think she's crossed it.
Is National Grid crossed off because she does it online?
Possibly, because that's an electronic transfer.
Electronic transfer.
But we don't have to vote on this, maybe we'll just, because I'm not
saying that-
explaining very well. And then this is just insurance, we can't not have insurance.
Yeah.
So that's a normal thing, and then this is payroll. We don't usually get to, I think we do all this, but we don't have it written down.
Right.
No,
So I think
sometimes it's for, I know sometimes we're doing something else and signing check,
Yeah.
going through the checks. And there are times that I know I have, and Susanna had too. It just automatically sign the check and then be like, oh, wait, you didn't have to do that.
Right, and I don't think they're listed, I think that's the problem, and she wants them listed because they aren't.
Well, then we don't have to say why I have to sign this.
And then, so I guess Whitesboro Central School is also this, when we do payroll, it's WCS,
Agencies.
that I know. And then Whitesboro Central School, again, why is it listed again? But maybe is, and then the credit card. Because these are month, and they do, I mean, we use basically Amazon, when we buy DVDs and those kinds of things. Did you see these already? So I went and thinking about it, the checks are all.
Oh, okay.
But we'll do that in a minute. So she would like to change it, and, Central Properties, the reason why the snow plowing, sometimes it's $700 to plow our employee a month. But if we add salt, it's $100, and we can't not add salt sometimes it goes over. So this is her proposal for check signing policy, that these would just be automatic, one signature.
So right at the top, it says director and two board members. Susanna was one, right?
Right.
Now she's gone, so we already have another person.
We'll probably ask to do it, or somebody else. I mean, everybody.
I don't know. I mean, it's been different people.
All three are required to sign a signature card. That we're not proposing to change the top part. Only the stuff in red is she proposing.
Right.
So
I'm just saying, if we had two people, one of them gone now, then yeah, we can have
we do. But this is
another board.
I wish I had her. I want you to sit on this. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, we can talk.
And
about
we'll talk about it next time, because she kind of explained that to me. But these are the ones, basically, this is what she wants us
So
to
what do
do.
you want to do with this?
I want you to just sit on it. I think we're tabling it. So you don't even have to add it.
Take it off.
Right. And the Mid-York, I don't know, Mid-York could be an announcement or a communication. So we can go on to announcements if you
Yeah,
want.
no, because if you have an A, you always have to have a B, and now you don't have a B anyway, so there's no way.
All right.
So summer schedules.
Right, oh, you don't have to put an A?
No, we don't put a name, no.
It's just a bullet. I'll
Okay.
put bullets there. All right, I gotta know, I'm gonna call it something else.
Yeah.
You have to add it.
No.
It's basically, we have Mid-York and I sent it as an attachment to the
Right.
most recent one, Scott. So I don't know who would like to go? Is really this is what we're talking about. Would you like to go?
I will not be able to go because I have another conference that I am obligated to.
It's Thursday, October 7th.
Mm-hmm.
There are, it says masks required. I believe that would probably be during the talk. But, oh, she's an author. She's coming here though. This guest speaker is actually coming to Dunham. So you won't. She wrote a book.
Yeah.
And it's I do. She wrote a book and it has it set in Utica. So
When will this author be at Dunham?
I don't know. But she is going to be here. I think in October. I'm guessing.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's actually because I did actually kind of get an announcement about this book when I went to the Utica Juneteenth celebration this summer. And so I was actually, that's sort of like, it's on my list of things to pick up. And so if she is going to be coming, that would be
Yes.
great.
And I Christina organized it. So I know it's I think it's this fall. She has family from here, but she doesn't live here. What's her name? Deirdre Sinat.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how you say her name. And she's third Miss Galway. And Scott, you may know about, I want to say she is, I want to say that the main character is of African descent and she's in the house. Is that true? She's in the household. And so she is part of the household, but not necessarily fully acknowledged as part of the household.
Right. Yeah, I think this is a historical novel that deals with Utica's history as being kind of an integral part of the Underground Railroad in the late 1800s. Mid 1800s,
I
actually.
think the Oneida Historical Society had her speak. She spoke maybe in a few libraries already. So,
Well, is anyone going from here?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna drag my husband. Dennis said he would like to go, but I don't think you have to. Let me see. I need to know by Friday, September 24th.
I would have to go with them.
Well, I know. I want to.
She's not going, that's what's good. Sally was supposed to.
Really want to go? We could take.
Uh,
Okay, do let me know.
I have to meet you down here.
We're gonna be stuck in a car with us, but we are next.
Would Dennis go with you?
Well, if there's only four of us, we should all go together,
Yeah.
right? So it's an option.
I always like to.
But Christina might want to go. I might offer it more to staff.
Well, I'll
too.
tell you what, so we'll find the girls go and make that.
There you go.
Let's find out.
So we will see. Because in fairness, Vernon Downs, if I go home from Vernon Downs, I don't go by a Whitesboro.
So then see if they.
But Christina might, she's from Marcy.
Well, see.
We will, or Dennis is. So we will figure out, you're a maybe. So Pat's a maybe. And that's all we have. No, it's not all we have. I haven't announced, well, I don't know what it is, correspondence, something. Rosemary just gets all these lovely thank you notes, so why not share them? It's always feel good stuff, right?
Do I put that announcement tomorrow?
It's not necessary.
I apologize, but I've got a contractor who has shown up. It's a little late, but I got to go talk to him. And if there's nothing else that needs
Nothing
to
to
be
vote
voted
on.
on or requiring a quorum. I'll
Thank
see
you
you
for
all
being
next
here,
month.
though.
Don't let the contractor get away.
Just two thank you notes. So see you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, this is to Rosemary. Thanks again for all the work you did on the summer crafts. We loved the bookmarks and cards. Hope you are having a super summer. It flies by too. So that was one. And we also had one, and I think I read it too quite some time ago, and it had to do with someone who did a project and it really helped one of her sick friends. And so that she gave us permission to give to Betsy Kennedy's doing something for the CLRC conference. And it's just how libraries change. It's not change lives, but add value to people's lives or something like that. And so this was just fun too. Thanks. Thank you. There's a stamp over it, so thank you. It was a pleasant surprise to find the new local history room. I found it so functional, quiet, uncluttered, and spacious. Easy to find the books needed and a good table to work at. We actually, a lot of times the way we put our collection together is how it fits in the room. So we were the old media room. So it used to be the old computer lab. And like we got all this junk here. Out and we put it in that closet, but now he's working in that closet. I'm hooking up the stove. So we moved all the local history books and put them on the bookshelves that the friends had made for us. They're really nice. They're made of oak. So there's 3 of them. There's 2 tall ones in the lower one. So we have the 2 tall ones on the ends, and the lower one with the TV in the middle. Oh, good. And it all the old books basically, and then we turn the corner. And there's another lower bookcase that we pulled out of the children or the information office. We put a different bookcase in there, and then that's lower. And we put all of the directories, so all the old telephone books basically, and are in there. So they're all in there within reason. All the old books that we have, a reference of people trying to look up something from olden days, right? And then the Dunham collection came downstairs, and that's actually in the back storage room. It used to be surrounded by desks, which was kind of annoying. And so I couldn't put anything against them anywhere. So it helped my office, and it put the books where the staff want to get to them, right? So all I have to do is go in the back. I mean, they're in storage, so in a way they're under lock and key, which is nice. And the media room can be locked too if we need to, because they aren't replaceable. A lot of these books are old. So they're down there, and that's what the college kids moved. They moved on collection, and so we did all that. So they're all kind of in one place if somebody wants. So how nice if somebody appreciated it.
Do you ever get much fun?
Because people would, because they're not used a lot, but I think that if somebody wants it old book, they've already been from the collection because
Well, sometimes what I found, occasionally I look for something old and they're in the very small library. Because if I want to get much,
so they keep all of them.
I don't know, somewhere that I never even heard of, some really small library. It doesn't throw anything away.
So we can adjourn. We can adjourn. Okay, then we can shut the
What time?
recording off.
What time?
We're adjourning. Mark, you can shut this off because we're just chatting. I have 7:07, 7:08. Okay, so we can, Mark, we're stopping the recording. Yep, adjourn. Yes,
October 12th.
he did. I don't think it's being recorded.
Okay, all set.
I ordered a book about gardening, like the Northeast or something. I don't know what I was searching.
Yeah.
And I received this book. It is 1800s, and it has like line drawings of the oak leaf and acorn,
Oh my
and it. I mean, I thought there's an oak tree, right? No. There's like 8 different kind of oak trees. There's a wild cherry.
My neighbor's yard, I love it.
There's little cherry. We park cars like way down at the end of the property, because we have 49 acres,
Yeah.
because it used to be 200, it was part of my grandparents' farm.
Wow.
So I parked the truck there, because there's berries all over the truck.
Yeah.
And I parked one of our guests' car down there, and my brother's car, and I'm like, what happened? Well, it rained at one point, and it just brought all these cherries down on their car.
Wow.
They're little though, but that's a wild cherry. That's
The deer come. They're out there all, for hours. Just
I guess
eating
they don't
cherries.
The deer invaded my property. It's like they eat all my pastas.
Oh, they all like it.
Right?
Yesterday,
I went a deer up on its hind legs trying to get to an apple. So we have a lot of
I-
That was a crab apple, just a wild apple tree.
now it's in they look like
So they're just pretty, but they have.
That's what we
They're
need to do.
a little big.
Our beer tasting.
They are. It's almost,
I was sleeping. I have my friend. It's a regular.
okay, I don't have a regular. I have
But
a
see,
lot
the,
of crabs.
the mate died. So now it was, I mean, we never, so we still, yeah, it's
Pretty.
But we don't really do much of it.
Kind of like the chicken.
But my security lights kept going on and on.
Yeah, I know, I don't like, my neighbor behind me, years ago, the woman that lived there, she got security lights in the winter. I could see them from my house.
These are
I
the,
got the light flash, and I said, yeah, so I look out the quick and say, oh, there's a deer out there.
the other ones are
Otherwise, I don't
just,
like it, because you always think something's
So,
going on.
these are just, but we did have these bigger, this is the Ingram order. So that was cute. You do not. You, now, do you want me to see, you're gonna just type that up? You
I'll
don't
just
care.
tell you for the work, I'm just gonna.
I think, I know, it's
And I'll just
beautiful.
send it.
These are all
I'll
small.
just send it to you.
Okay, yes. And then I will add all the, that's what I used to do.
Just attach it.
Yeah, these are all. Sign. She is.